it's Lizzie. So I was looking at my YouTube demographics recently and 47% of my viewers are guys, which is really surprising for me because I tend to make videos giving relationship advice and talking about my emotions, and my target demographic is teenage girls, maybe some college girls, but just girls. I know that some of my guy friends watch my videos and my dad watches my videos, but I don't know, it's just kind of surprising to me. So since so many guys are watching my videos, I thought I'd make a video just for guys about how to not play with a girl's emotions. One time I confronted a guy about this and he actually felt really bad and apologized, and so I feel like if you're doing this right now, you might be really unaware of it, and I feel like you might want to change, and so that's why I feel like this is really important to make. So I want to clarify before I start talking about anything that I do not at all think all guys are players, or that guys are jerks, or that even players are jerks. And so if you're a guy, I'm not at all labeling you, and I don't think of you or guys in general as anything. Every single guy is different. And one of my friends actually described this the other day really on point. My friend Charlie and I were hanging out and we just watched Into the Woods, which is an amazing movie, and we'd seen it with our friend Zach. The reason I'm laughing is because they gave me so much grief about not mentioning them in a video before. So Charlie and Zach, you guys are so awesome and I love hanging out with you. There was this line in the movie that just epitomized players, and it was the prince at the very end of the movie after cheating on his new wife. He says, "I was taught how to be charming, not how to be genuine." And in the movie theater, right after that happened, this was going on in my head. And then I was telling him this story about this guy I thought really liked me, but then just started ignoring me one day, and how much I hate it when guys do that. And then he says, "I feel like it's 3 guys who are going around hurting all the girls." So on point. Charlie and I actually made a vlog together, so you guys should go watch that, and we made it 10 minutes after it was midnight on New Year's Day, so yay. So this was a super long intro, but first I'm just kind of gonna explain what I mean by a guy who is a player. And if you're a guy, kind of check yourself while watching this and kind of wonder wait, do I do that to girls? Because you might be doing a couple of these things. And also I just wanted to say that I think girls can definitely be players too. Girls can mess with guys' emotions. We probably might do it more than guys mess with our emotions. But I think that the reason guys kind of get labeled as players and girls don't is that in our society, guys tend to be the ones pursuing girls. And I'm not saying that's right or that's how it should be, but that's just how it is. Guys who are players tend to be really charming and attractive and just that guy who every girl wants to be with, and it's really annoying as a girl being attracted to a guy like this because you really like him, but you realize that he's not good for you at all. He has a lot of rhetorical power. He just knows how to say things to make you feel really special, and the problem is that he's saying these things to multiple girls at the same time. Also, physical contact is kind of thrown around in a really chill way, and I understand that some people that's their love language, and some people who are friends, they're very physical contact-esque around each other. I don't know, one of my friends who's a girl, she'll cuddle with some of her guy friends, and that's totally fine, and that's just how she is. And I think that once that is established, oh wow, we're friends, this is how we interact as friends. But when you just meet a girl and you're very flirtatious and you're touching her and you're holding her or doing anything like that, I think some people have a personality type that tends to be more flirtatious. I have a personality close to that where I'm really happy all the time and I'm smiling and I laugh at guys' jokes, and some people might interpret it as me liking them. I'm really aware of that and intentional about not trying to lead guys on. So I realize girls need to be careful about this too, but some guys I've interacted with just take this too far, and it's almost they know that they're being flirtatious and they know that it's sending all these signals, but they're intentionally doing it anyways.
And that's how it works. That's how you get the girl.
So I hope by now everyone understands what I mean by a guy who is a player. Just someone who's very kind of intentional about physical contact and things they're saying and one-on-one time they're spending with a girl, doing that to a girl or multiple girls at the same time, and not kind of following that up with dating her. I made a video about guys who act like players a few years ago, and a lot of guys messaged me back about the video, and one guy told me that the reason he acts like this around girls is that he's been hurt before, and so he's afraid of commitment. And I think that it's good that there's a reason why you're doing this, not just because you like messing with the girl's emotions, but I still think most people have been rejected and hurt by people in relationships, and you don't need to turn that into messing with girls. That doesn't need to be what you do. Not all girls are like the girl who rejected you, and I think just how much guys hate it when we say all guys are like this. Girls also hate it when you're all girls are like this. So don't assume we're all the same, and be a little more optimistic that a girl will not hurt you in the same way again. Another thing that someone messaged me when I made that video a long time time ago. I don't even know how I remember all of this. Another guy messaged me and he said, I'm the type of guy you're talking about in that video, I just don't know how to stop being a player. And I agree that it can be probably a very intuitive process if you've been acting like this around girls for a while. And so these are some ideas and tips on how to stop doing that. And I think communication, verbal communication, is the main way to make sure that you're not messing with people or leading anyone on. If you just communicate to her, hey, I really like you, or hey, I don't like you, it just like keeps everything really clear. I think my number one complaint that I've realized with guys who have liked me or guys I've liked is that they just do not communicate. Like, they don't tell me that they're into me, they don't say anything, and instead it's like you're trying to read all these mixed signals or like all these signals, and it can get really confusing. And so I think that as a guy, if you want to make sure to not hurt a girl, just communicate with her what's going on. An example of really good communication, one of my guy friends who I became friends with last year, early on in our friendship, we just like clicked really well, like off the bat. We just like both have very like kind of assertive personalities, and we just became friends. And I remember one time he just like casually brought up like, oh, so-and-so asked if I liked you, and like I don't, and I was like, oh yeah, like I don't like you either. And it was really cool that he brought that up, because if I really liked him, I might have been like interpreting some of our interactions as like him liking me, but he brought that up just to make sure that like I wasn't getting hurt or led on. This is a guy who I really, really respect, and I just think it's so awesome that he did that and said that. And so if you click with a girl really well and you're having a lot of fun hanging out with her and talking to her, and you think maybe she's being led on, you could just let her know that you're not interested in her. Another thing is, if you're pursuing a girl a lot and then you realize like, wait, I actually do not like her at all, I think that's fine if you like were pursuing a girl, because like honestly, some guys just like do not ever make a move, and like that's really annoying. And so if you're the type of guy who's actually making a move, like I'm really happy. I think that's really good. But if you like realize in the middle of it that you're not actually into her, like tell her that. Instead of just like one day ignoring her, like tell her like, oh, I realized I like this other girl. Just like communicate that. As a girl, I would feel a lot more comfortable getting an explanation and having a conversation rather than just like getting nothing and just kind of like wondering like what just happened. And that's happened to me before, where it's just been like cut off, nothing. And it's really, really frustrating, because you have no idea what just happened, what he's thinking, why he's not talking to you, if he's gonna start talking to you again. It's just like all these like unsaid things. And I think if you're gonna really like a girl, if you're gonna be pursuing a girl and then give her no closure, you really shouldn't do that to a girl.
And that's how it works. That's how you lost the girl.
But I think that either it's a guy who likes multiple girls at the same time, so he's kind of just like flirting with like these 5 girls at once, then he's gonna like narrow it down on like who he actually wants to be with. But I think most of the time it's just a guy who doesn't even want a girlfriend. He just likes having power over girls by like messing with them. I think a lot of people just crave power, and a lot of guys think it's cool when they can have these like emotional things going on with different girls. That's another thing that you should know if you're a guy. Girls, emotionally, we get attached. And so if you start asking us a lot about our lives or sharing a lot about your life, and we really like you and you're being really flirtatious, that can just be perceived as kind of messing with our emotions. And I'm emotionally open with my guy friends, and that's the difference. Like if it's someone you're friends with and you've been friends with them for like a long time, then you can share a lot of things with them, and it won't at all be perceived as like messing with their emotions or playing them. But if it's a girl who you just met and you're already like opening up so much, or like getting her to open up so much and flirting with her and being really charming and saying things that make her feel special, but you have no intention of being with her, that can just be really, really hurtful, and it can mess with her. But if you are choosing between different girls, I kind of have an intrinsic problem with that, because it's almost like you're treating girls as an option instead of as someone who's intrinsically valuable and attractive, and I just don't think that's a good way to make a girl feel like an option. And if you do feel like you like multiple girls at the same time, maybe you just want a girlfriend or want a relationship. Maybe it's really not that you're attracted to someone, because I feel like when you really like someone, you don't like multiple people at the same time. It's like, wow, that's the one you really want to be with. It's not like, wow, I like these 4 girls, I don't know which one to be with. I feel like if that's going on, then you shouldn't be with any of them. And so you can be friends with a girl and you can talk with her and kind of hang out with her without having this like intensity of hitting on her a ton and really pursuing her and making her feel like you really want to be with her. I just feel like overall it's more respectful and careful if you kind of save like the emotional connecting and like any like physical contact stuff that can get confusing and ambiguous. Like save that for when you're in a relationship, and just focus on just having like normal friendships with girls and not like leading on a ton of girls. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next Monday. Bye!
Baby, I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake.